but going for their first ever treble for a club in Real Madrid, and as massive as they are, and as much as they've won, how significant is that opportunity? And now we take a look at the Copa del Rey Semi-Finals. Real Madrid, Real Sociedad. I'm rolling my R's for you right now. You enjoy. That's on Tuesday. Then Wednesday, Atletico Madrid versus Barcelona. And we're going to get an update, a preview of these matchups from our man, Phil Kitromilides.
Real Madrid have a curious relationship with the Copa del Rey. They're the most successful team in the history of La Liga, the most successful team in the history of the Champions League, but they've only won the Copa del Rey 20 times. Atletico and Barcelona have won it more times, so it hasn't always been a priority for them. But this season it's important because it could form part of a historic treble for Carlo Ancelotti's side. They have never won the treble in their 123 years of history, so that's a big motivation for them coming up in the Copa del Rey. They haven't been playing brilliantly in recent weeks. They've struggled past Leganés and Rayo Vallecano in La Liga, but the good news for them is that Kylian Mbappé is in extremely strong scoring form and looking physically really strong as well. They're up against a Real Sociedad side who simply don't score enough goals. They create chances, but they do not put them away, and they're trailing 1-0 on aggregate as they head to the Santiago Bernabeu. Then the second semi-final is absolutely blockbuster. This might be the most entertaining fixture anywhere in Europe this season. Atletico Madrid against Barcelona. It's currently 4-4 on aggregate after an absolutely wild first leg. And the pressure is all on Atletico Madrid. They're 9 points behind Barcelona in La Liga. They're not going to win La Liga. They're out of the Champions League. And hey, they spent big money in the summer strengthening their squad. A lot was expected of them. They should be challenging for trophies. They need to make the Copa del Rey final. All the pressure is on them. And Barcelona, for my money, they are playing by some distance the best football in Spain. It should be highly entertaining once again.
Great perspective on these matches from Phil there, but I love this comment. Real Madrid have only won it 20 times. that gives us a perspective on the other sides of how many times they've won this competition. But going for their first ever treble for a club in Real Madrid, and as massive as they are, and as much as they've won, how significant is that opportunity?
Yeah, it's a big opportunity for Real Madrid, and many people out there would have them as their favourite to potentially win that treble. And this cup competition is not necessarily one that they have great history in. And I do agree with what Phil is saying right there. In recent years, it's been pretty terrible for Real Madrid. And now we're recognising the importance of it to try and make sure that they actually do get their hands on a trophy this season, because they've got a battle on their hands, obviously, for that La Liga title. They certainly have a battle on their hands and some difficult ties coming up in the Champions League to get their hands once again on that title. No one's betting against them, maybe me. But at the same time, Copa del Rey gives them an opportunity to lift that one, that big one, that important one. Listen, they've won their last 4 head-to-head games against Real Sociedad, so certainly it falls in their favour. I thought they were very good in the first leg. They had a ton of opportunities, 14 shots, 5 of them on target. They got the important goal, which was the difference by Endrick, and it was an excellent strike. I still think there's more to come from them. Sociedad don't necessarily have a great away record either. They've only won 1 of their last 8 away games, and they've lost 6 of them. So certainly the form's in favour of Real Madrid. Certainly the quality is in favour of Real Madrid. They've obviously been led by Kylian Mbappé, obviously the Frenchman. He scored a couple against Leganés, making it 33 in his debut campaign at the Bernabeu. He's actually chasing a very important record at the Bernabeu when it comes to history. He's 4 goals away from the all-time record, which was 37, set by Ivan Zamorano. Many people out there who know the history of Real Madrid and the beautiful game will recognise the name. In 1992-93, he got 37 goals. So Kylian looks like he's going to beat that record. He might even do it in this game if Real Madrid have a bit of a fun performance out there.
And some of the players that were coming back from South America from international duty got to rest a little bit over the weekend. Rodrigo, Vinny Jr., you're talking about some players that, as Ancelotti is trying to get ready for this competition that they haven't necessarily had so much success in. Should they be fresh for this match? Should we see a full-strength Real Madrid side coming up?
They should be fresh. You would think they would be fresh, but unfortunately for them, there's so many games coming up for them, and the international break doesn't necessarily give teams like Real Madrid an opportunity to rest their players. They're travelling all across the world to play in World Cup qualifiers and important UEFA Nations League games, whatever it may be. there's a lot of stress that goes with that. Then all of a sudden you're back at Real Madrid. In many ways, what I'm witnessing from Real Madrid this season is that the players are really enjoying the atmosphere. They're enjoying being there. They're enjoying playing for Real Madrid. I don't think they're at the level that we've seen in previous seasons. Certainly last season, as we got to this end of the campaign, the business end of the campaign, they upped their tempo. They upped their game. Many people were questioning them actually winning another Champions League title like I'm doing this year. But they actually still managed to get to another level. I'm still waiting for Real Madrid to get there. I don't foresee any problems against Real Sociedad. This is a good tie for them to obviously make it through to the final, and look forward to whoever comes through from Atleti and Barcelona.
Let's talk about Atleti and Barcelona, because that was wild. That was insane the first time around between these two sides. So what do we expect in round two?
Well, I went through the ties, and there's been 20 goals between these two sides over the last 4 games across all competitions. So strap on your seatbelts. This could get a little bit wild. I went to the betting numbers more than anything else in this game, just to try and figure out where the bookies are leaning towards this game. Barcelona are plus 140 favourite, and Atletico Madrid are plus 180 in this game to win it on the money line. It might go to, obviously, another tie game. Therefore, it could go to a little bit crazy of an ending in this matchup. But goal scorers are what we're expecting from this, because of all the goals we've seen now. I just mentioned 20 over the last 4 head-to-head. That's ridiculous, the amount of goals that we're seeing from this tie. Lewandowski's plus 130 for goal scorer, which you would never see someone who's scoring as many goals as he is at a number like that, unless it's in a game like this where we could see a very close game, a close affair. Stats and history tells us that this is going to be wide open. It's going to be goals, it's going to be dramas, and especially after the most recent victory from Barcelona, I'm finding it very difficult to bet against them. Atleti, in my personal opinion, have dropped off. They've dropped off that quality. They're not scoring enough goals even in this competition. They're actually scoring more than they are in La Liga, game for game. But I just think that Barcelona's quality is just too much.
You know, I think it's interesting. This is a hot take for you, maybe, Ian, but I wonder if part of that line you're talking about with Lewandowski is he even going to start in this game? Hansi Flick has rotated his players. He's tried to manage the minutes of Lewandowski at the age that he is right now. And the one thing you could say for Barcelona, yes, they are absolutely flying in 2025. But since the international window, it's been match after match after match. And so far, the rotations have worked. Can it work again? And do they need to rotate again in this matchup?
I don't think they could rotate. I think they know they've got to go with true quality. Barcelona do want that treble. I tell you, they're hungry for success. And Hansi Flick is hungry for success. He wants to win a trophy. And certainly when you go to games like this, you need your experienced players. So I think Lewandowski starts this game. I don't think they can do without him. The goals that they've scored, and we spoke about it over the weekend on Scoreline, it's insane the number that Barcelona have got to. It is now, in 45 matches, 139 goals that they have scored across all competitions under Hansi Flick. And of course, Lewandowski has been credited with the majority of them. He is their hottest goal scorer. And in fact, right now, what I would say is I would take Lewandowski as the best striker in world football right now. I don't care, Alexander Isak, Gyökeres, I hear all the numbers. But they're not necessarily just relying on what they do offensively going forward, Nate. It's about what they do defensively. And you'll like what I'm about to say. Wojciech Szczesny has come into this team. He made his debut on January 4th. He has played 18 games. He has won 16 of those games that he has played, and he's got 9 clean sheets to his name. So the old man who was sitting on a beach smoking a cigarette is now looking at a potential treble. Not bad for someone who looked like he was enjoying retirement.
And it looked a little dodgy for him to start, honestly.
Yes.
It was an emergency to try to bring him in and get him up to speed. And for a while, we wondered how that would go. He's playing well. He's in form. And this Barcelona side are absolutely flying right now. You mentioned that for the style of matchup, if you're Atletico Madrid, you don't want a shootout in this one, right? You're not going to try to outscore Barcelona. They need this game to be a little more under control than round one does. Am I wrong?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, you remember it was a late equaliser for them once again, and getting back into this game where Barcelona looked like they were going to win that game, and then all of a sudden they got back into it. The recent results, they don't lie. They've found it very difficult to pick up their victories, even in the most recent one against Espanyol, where they didn't play well in that game. They had a ton of chances, and they had a couple of shots on target, but only scored one goal. Against Barcelona previously, obviously, to the international break, they were outplayed, and there was so much more quality coming from Barcelona, even though all the goals came from that second half. I think what they'll try to do, Atleti, is they will try to go for it. They've got nothing to lose now. If they're looking for a trophy this season, and in many ways it would be considered a disappointment if they didn't win a trophy because of the quality and the money that Atleti have spent, I think they've got to go for it, this one. This is their opportunity to put their hands on a trophy. I rule them already out of La Liga race. I don't think they've got the quality, not scoring enough goals in the domestic league. I think this is their opportunity. If they want to win a trophy, they've got to spring a surprise against Barcelona in this game.
If Real Madrid take care of business, it's either going to be a Madrid derby or an El Clasico in the final. What are we expecting?
I mean, we could be witnessing something memorable. We've never had El Clasico in a Champions League final as well, and that's on the cards.
It is on the table.
Anything is possible, and if we do get one, let's just hope we get the best performance from both teams.
It's shaping up to be a great opportunity for both teams, and could we see it in two different competitions plus the La Liga race as well? It's really going to be some fascinating stuff. And this Barcelona side, I mean, as we just heard from Phil as well. There's nobody playing better football in the world right now, is there?
More pleasing on the eye style of football, certainly not. And Hansi Flick has been excellent. Many people would question if PSG were the team that's obviously playing as good football. They are playing good football and they're scoring a lot of goals. They've got a hot hand in Ousmane Dembele, who's scored the majority of his goals in calendar year 2025. But if you go back and you look at the results, where's the losses for Barcelona in 25? They're not.
Can't find them.
It's victory after victory after victory. Hansi Flick has managed to rotate his side. And you said something really important. Does he do it again? Probably in some positions he will. But if you look at the players who are obviously pulling the strings, there's one player in particular in that midfield for Barcelona that doesn't get a lot of credit, and that is Pedri. This weekend, obviously, they were trying to keep themselves in the game against Girona. They played 3 days prior. He had 16 passes from midfield into the final third for Barcelona. This guy just has that midfield split and pass, that vision for a pass that so few players actually have in the beautiful game. He doesn't get spoken about enough. And these are the stars that Hansi Flick has got. We talk about Lewandowski, Lamine Yamal, even if we talk about Araujo, who's obviously come back from the international break and solidifying that defence. But it's Pedri for me that kind of pulls the strings from that midfield area. He's a difference maker.
All of those youngsters in the midfield for Barcelona are just incredible right now. And that's when he does rotate. That's what's amazing about them is you almost don't even notice a difference. I mean, it's just the same attractive football, whoever's out on the pitch. We'll see if it continues in the Copa del Rey.